Hello, QuickBooks. My name is Ariel Hyatt, and I am delighted and excited to be hosting this Q&A today. QuickBooks is committed to helping small businesses succeed no matter what. They've put together this live Q&A to connect small businesses, that's you, to experts, that's me, who can help answer questions to best prepare your business in navigating through today's environment. And what a crazy environment we are all in right now. I hope that you and your loved ones are safe. If you are interested in additional resources, please visit the link below. And of course, we are taking questions as we move through the next hour together. I am based here in New York City. My company is called Cyber PR. And I have been a small business owner for the last 25 years. It's amazing to think about that. And I know a lot about the ebbs and flows of small business. My area of expertise is social media, marketing, and getting your brand together online. So I am really excited to be answering questions from the QuickBooks community today about those things. Our first question it's from Amy B, and it's a good kickoff question. It is, what are the best channels for small businesses to reach their audiences? And the answer to this question is all of them. So I think there's a lot, especially if you read social media news or marketing newsletters, there's a lot of love that gets shown, especially to Instagram in this day and age. But here's the truth. There's millions and millions of followers on all channels. That goes for LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Wherever you feel most comfortable is what I always advise my social media clients. Of course, it is ideal to be on all channels and to have separate posting and different strategies for each one. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, I'm sure. But there is no right answer and there is no best channel. But you should be aware that if you're going to do social media marketing, the best advice that we've always given our clients is be excellent at one first. I think it can be very daunting and overwhelming, especially if you're trying to build up your social channels, to try to do all of them. So pick the one you like and be excellent at that one first, and then you can move on to the other ones. Question from Andrea, can you tell me a bit more about Twitter and Instagram? And QuickBooks ran a poll earlier in the week to prepare for this Q&A. And those are actually the two channels that you all wanted to hear from. And both of them are obviously huge, millions of followers. Instagram, let's just address the darling of the social channels. That is the one that I think we hear the most about these days. It is the one that people tend to gravitate to because I think if you're visually inclined, it is an easier channel for us to use. You don't have to come up with a lot of pithy things like you might on Twitter. You don't have to be short like you have to on Twitter. So Instagram is a very good channel if you're visually inclined, and some of us are not. I think for businesses that are selling goods and products that you can actually take photographs of, Instagram can be a better place to promote a business. If you are a service-based company like me, making videos, it's a great place to do that. Instagram, especially IG Live now during this pandemic, a lot of people are going live and having chats with their customers and their audiences. And so Instagram, you can also do that on Twitter, but Instagram is a place where people are expecting IG Live to be a part of the conversation. However, that being said, Twitter is experiencing a resurgence, especially I've noticed during this pandemic. I think it was a place where people had kind of abandoned, obviously a lot of political things go on Twitter. And I think for the last several months, it hasn't been a place where I've been hearing a lot of feedback. But interestingly, since we're all homebound, I see a lot of people brushing off their Twitter accounts and beginning to use it to communicate in ways that I haven't seen in recent months and years, actually. And the thing I really love about Twitter, my agency, Cyber PR, does a lot of publicity, and all journalists are using Twitter, still use Twitter very actively. So if part of your social media strategy that you're looking to do has anything to do with trying to get PR and trying to get noticed by any type of publication or podcasts, Twitter can be a very effective place to communicate with hosts and with journalists. So that's one reason why I really do like that platform. Question from Kristen. What is the difference between my personal social media account and a business account? Do I post the same thing on both? This is a really hard question to answer, because in this day and age, a lot of us, especially small business owners like me, some of us are solopreneurs or we have very small teams, and our personality, our human touch ends up being part of our brand. So I guess in a perfect world, if you're just starting, I would ask you to think, is your brand part of your business? If the answer is yes, then I think it's okay to collapse your personal social channels and they become your brand channels. That's very much the case with me. I am a solopreneur. People know me and they know my company name. The two things are kind of collapsed. And so I don't really have a private Facebook. That being said, Facebook is used for things like announcing children's birthdays and births and deaths and people struggling with personal trials and tribulations. And so if you are doing a lot of commenting, especially on your Facebook page from a personal page, and you haven't yet set up a business account, and that is where you're doing business from, you want to stay on brand and just be mindful. So I do think that you should have a personal account, which is just for friends and family, so that if you do want to talk about a struggle or something very personal or political, or you want to celebrate a child's birthday, you're not doing it out in front of all of your customers. And so you don't want to be posting the same things, of course, on your business account as you would on your personal accounts. You want to have more business messaging on your business accounts and more personal messaging, of course, on your personal accounts. But of course, there is another aspect to social media, and social media is not only about marketing messages. You do want to be human. You do want to give your opinions and contribute to your communities, especially your business communities. And so you can be mindful about how you have your brand, your company brand, speaking on your social channels. Christopher says, I'm new to social media and I don't have many followers. How will I grow my business without followers? And this is something that in this day and age, we've all become accustomed to and familiar with these crazy numbers, thinking that I'm nothing unless I have over 1 million followers. Or I think we look at videos and we see hundreds of thousands of views and we think that that's normal. That is not, for most of us as small business owners, even necessary. If you are running a service-based business, for example, and you're looking to get a very specific type of paying client in the door, you don't need hundreds of thousands of clients a year. If you're anything like me, you probably need a couple of hundred clients a year. Or if you're selling a particular good and service, maybe you need 1,000 clients a year, 1,000 people coming to your business, wherever that may be, and paying you however much money. So if you think about numbers, and it's very daunting when we know that there's 1 billion people on Facebook, and these numbers are so huge, hundreds of millions of users, of course, on Twitter and on Instagram. You don't need all of those people. You just need the right people. So how do you grow your business without followers? Have great and useful content that captures people's attention, that really looks to help and serve your community. So in other words, posting things that are remarkable, as one of my mentors, Seth Godin, always talks about. You want to make sure that if someone sees a post of yours, they would remark, meaning share it, make comments on it. You want to be remarkable in your content, and really good content that is resonating with your audience, no matter how big or small, will eventually have a wonderful halo effect, and people will start sharing your content and your community will grow. There is something else, that when you don't have many followers, and even when you do have many followers and you are looking to grow your business, something that I have seen time and time again is we focus so heavily on social media and social media marketing, and even spending money on social media advertising. And in my experience, for many, many businesses, you might actually want to use your social media channels to drive your customers and potential customers to a newsletter. A newsletter is a fantastic way to really capture an audience. And so if you are putting together a new strategy or revamping your social media strategy, definitely keep in mind that having a newsletter is very important. And you want to be using your social media to drive potential customers to your newsletter. And then your newsletter obviously talks more in depth about your goods and your services and what it is you're offering. And that becomes the cornerstone of your brand. Kelly G is asking, what are hashtags and how do I use them? Hashtags are something that can be really, really daunting. And hashtags are used very differently on different social channels. So for example, if you're posting on LinkedIn, you will see that it will always prompt you whenever you're done writing a post to your community to add hashtags, which is something that's smart to do. Instagram, you always see those hashtag clouds. A lot of times, especially power users on Instagram will put a hashtag in their one post that they're doing, and then they'll sometimes add a whole bunch of hashtags. You call that a hashtag cloud. But what a hashtag really is it's a way of separating your post and your information from the pack. So if you're using a hashtag, for example, I'll use one that I might use, social media marketing, or I tend to serve a lot of creative people and artistic people. I might use a hashtag independent artists or make art. And those are hashtags that my potential client base could be using. So what you want to do is think about what hashtags are being used in your community, and you want to incorporate those into your posts. Now, on Twitter, you don't want to use too many hashtags, maybe only 1 or 2 per tweet. On Facebook, I would recommend using three or 4. LinkedIn, 3 or 4 is good. And then best practice on Instagram is you can use multiple. You can use up to 30. I would say a sweet spot is about using 15 hashtags. And the best way to do that is you post on Instagram and you post the text that you want to have appear with your image. And then you want to go and comment on your own post with your hashtag cloud. So that way your post is not muddled with a lot of hashtags. And users on Instagram have decided what kind of hashtags they want to follow. So if you post something that has a hashtag that's interesting, let's say you're selling gardening products, goods, or services. Urban garden might be a hashtag that people are following. So if you put urban garden or urban gardening in your hashtag cloud, anyone that's interested in that topic can sign up to receive posts and to look through posts that are referencing hashtag urban gardening. And hashtags are hard to find, and it's hard to come up with creative ideas. There's a wonderful service that we use here at my company, and we recommend that people use it, and we will put all of the recommendations for different services that we love. But the one for hashtags is called Display Purposes. And what's great about this website, Display Purposes, is you can go to it and you can type in a hashtag that is appropriate for you and for your business, and Display Purposes will immediately pop up 30 hashtags that go along with what you've entered. So it's a great way to begin to see what is appropriate and what type of hashtags could you be adding. And the thing I love about Display Purposes is it also filters out spammy hashtags. There are some hashtags that shouldn't be used because maybe they're getting trapped in the spam filters. So it will actually show you how to use the right ones. Shelby says, I keep reading that Instagram and social media are very visual. Do I have to create beautiful photos and artwork? And are there any free tools that I can use? This is one of the reasons why I find a lot of my clients, when they come to me, are struggling with Instagram. Instagram warrants that, yes, you do need to have, well, any type of social channel, really, you do need to have very good looking images, and you have to have a brand that you want to think through. And you want to make sure that the images that you are putting on any of your channels, but especially Instagram, are well thought out and have a good tone and style that go along with your business. And so, especially now that a lot of us are trapped at home, it might be hard to create a lot of content if you have to be out on a set or out in the world taking photographs. But yes, you do need to think very clearly about your visuals. You want to make sure that you have a graphic style that is consistent. In other words, you don't want to be using wildly different fonts, different colors, different filters for your photos. You want to pick a lane and stay with it as you're going through your social media. There are plenty of wonderful style guides that you can find online. We will be sharing some of them here in the links and in the forum so that you can begin to understand how to put together a great style. And one service that I love using, it is very inexpensive and they do have a free version, is Adobe Spark. And it can help you curate social media posts, as well as Canva. And I love Canva because you can build banners for your social channels in it. You can build posts, and it's got one button that you can click, which will help you size your posts and your banners depending on which social channel you want to post it on. So you always will have the right social sizing ready to go, and you don't have to worry about images looking squashed or strange. They will look perfect every time. Danny D asks, should I reply to people if they comment? Absolutely. This is one of the most important tenets of social media marketing specifically, and social media use in general. You definitely want to reply to people who comment. Now, there is a huge difference between a comment that is a true comment, someone that might be really contributing something to what it is that you're saying. A comment that you don't need to respond to might be like a thumbs up or a heart. That's just a very short emoji that maybe someone's reacting to something. But if someone does leave a true comment, and I would say a comment's anything over 3 or 4 words, commenting back is a great way of beginning to establish a relationship with a fan of your business, your good, your service, what it is you're saying, and a potential customer. So one of the things that I've read about Instagram, which I study a lot, is the algorithm, which is a secret. No one really knows how it works and how things get favored. But there is a lot of evidence that points to, if you leave a comment that's more than 5 words, Instagram's algorithms tend to like that. So think through what it is you want to say and absolutely comment back using more than 5 words. That could be a great practice on any of the social channels, and not just responding with a thumbs up or a heart or another emoji, because then you're just speaking in short bursts and you're not actually adding to your conversation, which is what you really want to be doing. Tom M. Since we can't attend mixers and networking events, how do we make meaningful connections with new potential customers? This is a great question that sort of dovetails on to, should you reply if people comment? Another way that we can do this, especially now, I'm seeing a lot of pain and honesty on my social channels. I think, a lot of us are at home, we're feeling isolated, we're homeschooling, we're feeling overwhelmed, we're trying to do our jobs and take care of family members. And you can have real meaningful connections to people if you take the time to respond in kind. So again, as a brand, if it's on brand for you, this is great. If it's a personal connection, you as the business owner of your brand, I think it's a wonderful thing to do to take off that marketing hat and stop being so concerned with, is my marketing on brand? Am I asking for the sale? Am I asking for the right thing? Am I putting in the right, message to get money or get clients or get something? And think only about, what is it that I can give? Just giving a kind word, just acknowledging that someone's in pain and that you're here to help them, or sending something that might be comforting, a meme if that's appropriate, or acknowledging if someone is saying something, by really responding with a thoughtful answer. This is a great way to begin to set up the most important thing about why we should all be using social media, which is to establish two-way conversations. Andreas asks, I'm confused about stories in Facebook and Instagram. Aside from general lack of knowledge about their place in marketing, stories can also be saved, ? I don't care for posts that go away in a day. Thoughts? Okay, so yes, stories are a very, very important part, especially of your Instagram strategy and Facebook, but let's focus on Instagram. Why? Regular posts that you put up on stories are seen only for 24 hours. That's true. They can be saved, however. And when you go onto your Instagram page, there's those little bubbles that go across the top of your Instagram profile. And those little bubbles can be customized with any kind of saved stories. The reason why stories are really effective and a great strategy is when you post an Instagram story or even a Facebook story, it interrupts, because across the top of everyone's Instagram, when they log in, they can see who has recent stories. So when you're posting stories, you're basically pushing yourself and your business up to the top of the Instagram algorithm. And so people can see when you've got new posts. So stories are a wonderful way. You can also put a lot of text on them. You can put mini videos in a story. So it's a really, really great place to add to the conversation and to make sure that you're getting seen. And don't worry, if the posts go away, they won't if you save them in your little profile bubbles, which are up at the very top. Stacy asks, what is a good posting schedule? How much time do I need to set aside each week to do social media? Okay, so what is a good posting schedule? I would say that each of the channels has a different kind of way that you should be posting. So we can start with Twitter. You can post endlessly on Twitter. A tweet lasts in the average person's tweet stream less than 45 seconds. So if you wanted to tweet 8 or 10 or 20 times a day, that is not a problem at all because that stream goes so quickly. For Instagram and Facebook, you could post somewhere between 3 and 5 times a week. Posting on Facebook more than once a day, you're just going to get lost in the algorithm and it's not advised. Instagram as well. The more you post, the less you might be appearing in people's streams. So you could maybe just go with 3 to 5 times a week on Facebook and Instagram. I would advise you to post multiple times a day, however, in stories, because again, you're pushing yourself up to the top of the algorithm and you're also alerting your fan base that you're there. And then of course you can curate those stories that you're posting so that they can appear. If people get really interested in you and they want to look through your profile, they can go through all of your profile and look through what you've curated at the top of your Instagram page. Now, as far as how much time do you need to set aside each week to do a proper social media schedule, that is really, really hard. The better and the more efficient you are at it, the less time you should be spending. I've seen a lot of articles like, oh, how to do social media in 20 minutes a week. That's great if you're very, very good at creating content, you know what you're doing, you know how to quickly go in and make a photo that is edited really quickly and well. So it's really hard when you're just learning and you're on a steep learning curve and it takes you a couple of hours to put the right filter and the right text and the right graphics on your different posts. So, and then there's the other part of the problem with social media, which is, of course, it's a great rabbit hole. You get on social media and all you're going to do is go to post on Facebook and all of a sudden you see something and you're down the rabbit hole and you're spending hours and hours looking at things. That is always the hardest part. So best practice, you don't want to spend your whole life on social media. You've got a business to run. You've got customers to attend to. You've got strategy to put together. I would say if you can get your posting eventually down to an hour a week or 2 hours a week, that's a healthy time. But you want to spend a considerable amount of time responding to people who are commenting. So definitely allocate another hour or 2 a week to be commenting back, because that is the way that you're going to be building your two-way conversations and your customer base with real compassion. Okay, Lori, do I need a customer service strategy or plan to help customers if they reply with support issues? Absolutely. Now, for those of you that have a small business, it might feel daunting to think about a customer service strategy, but here's my best advice for that. A strategy is don't ignore your customers. The thing that would upset a customer, and we've seen it, we see it in corporate when these stories tend to trend sometimes, that there was this irate customer, using maybe like a mobile service or a TV service, or, they're trying to get in touch with a large Fortune 100 company and they're freaking out because something didn't go right. Big companies are equipped for people who are freaking out, because the last thing you want to have happen is someone complaining about your business or something that did or didn't happen for them in a loud way in all capital letters on social media. So your strategy should absolutely be react and react fast. This is why setting aside time at least once a day to just make sure there's nothing blowing up. There's nothing worse than when you forget about an inbox or something that you forgot to look at, and you go, oh boy, there's an upset customer who didn't get something that they were promised. And a lot of times I have found that when you have upset customers and they're beginning to go at you on social media, all they really want is for someone to pay attention to them and to respond with some courtesy, try to fix the problem. Obviously, I've had people send really frustrated and, almost angry comments at us. And the minute they realize that there's a human on the other end responding and they calm down, and they, you can very much take upset away, but you definitely want to make sure that your strategy is reply to any type of support issue. And if someone is being inappropriate and they're, saying things that seem off color, or they're damaging to your business, or they just, it's just not okay. Again, back to Seth Godin, he always says, feel free to delete those comments, to hide those comments. You're not obligated to leave every single comment that comes up if they are in your control. So that's an okay strategy too. Just make sure you don't ignore the person. And then if they're wildly irate, you might need to block them. That can happen. You can't control everybody's emotions on the entire internet, unfortunately. Richard B asks, how will I know if what I'm doing is working? And this is another thing I see very often. We spend so many hours trying to create content and post it, and you can see how many likes you get, and you can see how many shares you get. That isn't necessarily always the best gauge for what's going on. How do you know if what you're doing is working? Simple answer. Did you get any customers? Did you get any referrals? Did you meet and connect with anyone that led you to anyone that might have become a customer? That's how I think you can begin to gauge if your social strategy for marketing for your business is actually working. Of course, looking at your analytics and your insights is very important, just so you can see, oh, this was my most popular tweet of the week. Oh, this was the post that seemed to have resonated the most with people, got the most likes or the most comments, for example. And I think when you see that and it's working, right? You get a lot of comments or a lot of likes or a lot of people sharing something, that's working. And so whenever you see something that's working, you want to do more of it. Something that I find that can be really frustrating with social media is you're trying to do a business messaging, like perhaps you're offering something for money, or you're trying to get people to come to a webinar, or you're giving away a white paper, or you're trying to disseminate some information about your business. And that's not the thing that people are going to be wildly sharing. You probably will get more shares on something that's funny or silly, or a video, or something that evokes emotion out of people. And that sometimes isn't furthering your brand, which can feel really, really frustrating. I work with, again, a lot of creatives and musicians, and a lot of times, they say, like, I want to have a video go viral. And, you have to think about, like, when was the last time you saw a video that is demonstrating your product, your good, your service go wildly viral? I think what we see go viral are, babies doing cute things, or animals, or something outrageous or wild. So be less concerned about, did it go viral? Did tens of thousands of people look at it? What you really want to be aware of and look at, is that working? Did you put out a piece of content or an offer that had a reaction? And when I say a reaction, I mean, you want to also always be setting goals around your social media. To just do social media for the sake of doing it is an exercise in futility and narcissism. There's no reason to do that whatsoever. I really recommend, like, if you're going to, for example, give away a free white paper, make a goal for yourself. I would like this white paper to be downloaded 100 times, 1,000 times. Or if you're going to give a webinar, set a goal for yourself. I would like to have 30 attendees. Or if you're doing a promotional post and you want to throw a couple of dollars behind it, say to yourself, I want to create 1,000 impressions, because I think if 1,000 people are looking at this, I can create 1 or 2 or 5 customers out of it. So is what you're doing working? The answer is always yes if you just look at the likes and the thumbs up or the amount of shares. But really, as a business owner, we are using social media to market and promote our business and to get customers. So did you get a customer? If the answer is yes, definitely it's working. Hector, I want to show my customers and potential customers and other businesses that I genuinely care about them right now. How can I do that with social media? This is a really, really great question, and I think really appropriate for right now. I said it a little bit earlier in this Q&A, and Hector, I'll just sort of say more to that. Be genuine and care. I know, when you're programming tweets or you're trying to program your Facebook posts and you've got like your business in mind and you're trying to market specifically something with a real desire to have a return on that investment that you spent on social, it doesn't show people that you're really caring, right? That's a one-way conversation that you're having out towards the community. And I think right now it's a really good time to create these two-way conversations. So how do you genuinely care? Genuinely listen. And how do you genuinely listen on social media? Take the time to read other people's posts, other people's streams, join other people's Instagram lives, pop in with a kind word. Funny, I was poking around on Instagram yesterday morning and I saw actually one of my clients was, he's a musician, he was performing, and I stopped by and left some comments and I hung out and watched. And then later that day I was on Instagram and he popped into mine. So this is a way that you can begin to genuinely care, is by taking the time to give people real feedback, leave real comments, spend some time with them online. And I think for those of us that feel pressed for time, especially right now, we're at home and we have all these other distractions like homeschooling, cooking, just trying to keep our genuine sanity. It's hard to remember to take the time, but certainly you can do that. So that was a lot of really great questions. I was really excited to see. I think you really hit some of the questions that I get asked the most as small business owners. If you've got future topics that you're interested in, please let us know here in the comments, and give a video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more Q&As, please let us know that too. And if you're looking for more resources in the meantime, QuickBooks has compiled some helpful tips and resources. I've also given them a lot of my favorite apps to use and insights that you can follow, and links that you can refer to, which go directly in cahoots with all of these great questions that were asked today. Again, my name is Ariel Hyatt. My company is CyberPR. You can feel free to @me @CyberPR if you've got additional questions. I'm here to help. And thanks very much, QuickBooks, for giving me the chance to speak to you all today. Stay safe, everybody.